At Greg Casey property, business was as usual, but one evening the owner became very ill, and the man who was taking care of him had to call an ambulance. They arrived quickly, diagnosed a hypertensive crisis, and provided emergency care. The old man got better and fell asleep, but as soon as he began to feel better, Greg Casey called the young man to him. The gray-haired, paralyzed old man smiled as he looked into his eyes. "You'll be surprised, but my name is Justin. But there was a time when I was very happy. God gave me a green light. I met an amazing woman who didn't care about my money or status. She just fell in love with me and idolized my every thought and action. You know, she was so beautiful when we met. So wonderfully naive, with wide wavy hair and sparkling brown eyes. She always wore very colorful dresses and extravagant outfits, and it was impossible not to notice her. But it was her disregard for convention that surprised and won me over, and she became my secretary, my favorite, and my friend. So Samantha and her bright dresses walked through the crowd of employees dressed in gray or black and white. I loved her very much, but I kept the relationship a secret. It was frightening to think that she might be miscarried like my first family. A competitor killed her in a fake car accident, and I chickened out and rejected this gift of fate that heaven had given to me. I took this unnecessary vow to never have a family, and I laid my lost love on that altar. Justin saw tears well up in the old man's round eyes. He wiped them away with a shaking hand and continued. Samantha gave me a beautiful, amazing daughter, and I gave her up. I chickened out because I was afraid for her. I disowned my family. This beautiful woman, I didn't give my own daughter my last name. Of course, I take care of her. Made Sam accept a big, comfortable house for me. It is here, not far away, and my daughter lives in it. But I didn't see her, didn't talk to her, just looked at her occasionally. I wondered how to leave. That was the most important thing to me. But I made her life miserable. My daughter doesn't even know me and hates me. I couldn't even save my beloved and see her off on her last journey. She died suddenly of a heart attack. Too much on her frail shoulders. "Sit down, please." He patted the bed with his hand. "This is going to be a long conversation. First, we'll inject the man with the necessary medication." He rolled him onto his back and sat down beside him. He looked at him with his brown eyes, then reached out and touched his fingers lightly. "Jess, you have become very dear to me in this time. I've come to realize that you're not just helping me for the money. I can see how hard it is for you to juggle work and caring for me, but you have an inner core of strength and integrity. You can love. You can know how to make care of the people you care about. There is nothing in you that I detest in people. Pride, vanity, stupidity, or insolence. You are very quiet, reserved and tolerant type. Who can I trust more than you? Listen to my offer without indignation and consider it carefully. I want you to save the only thing left on earth after me, my daughter. If you marry her, you will receive half of my inheritance. Each of you will have one of 2 of my savings. That's a lot of money, believe me. What are you talking about, Greg? The guy is scared. You're alive, and the girl is going to meet her soulmate tomorrow. I have never seen your daughter. This deal is doomed. You know that, don't you? Yes, my boy, I do. She's buying a husband for my girl, but not out of self-interest. She won't find one. Diana is invalid. Her passion for mountaineering led to a near-death experience. when she fell off a cliff, saved by a small ledge on which she fell from a height. She has suffered a complex injury to her hip joint. It has simply disintegrated, and she is unable to walk, although she moves within the confines of the room on her healthy leg. I tried to find a clinic where the joint could be repaired, but it was not possible. The doctors will not take our case. Samantha traveled with her to many medical facilities, and finally, her daughter told her mother that she was tired of all the doctors and the hopelessness, that she was not getting to do anything more, that she was just going to leave and get used to her situation. Yes, dying. I want to know that someone will need her. The young man was shocked by the millionaire's proposal. He jumped up from the bed and started pacing around the room. I don't know how she's feel about it. You will have to talk her into it, but you have to promise me that you will at least try. Why, Greg? Do you want to get married? I could be there for her as a friend, as you confident. Well, you know, my boy, I would like it to be a marital relationship. There is nothing stronger. Greg suddenly cried like a baby, and Justin found it unbearable to look at this physically frail but unbroken man and said, "Okay, I will do my best. I will honor the deal." By giving such an advance, the man hoped that the old man will live a long time and maybe change his mind. But his expectations were not fulfilled. That very night, Greg Casey died. On the first day of summer, Justin Adamson parked his car in front of Deanna's greenhouse. It was 5 lots away from the Craig's mansion. The building was much more modest, but it felt the millionaire's guiding hand. It was a 1-story building, its exterior glass walls letting its sunlight. The old man told me that this house was built as a special project just for Samantha and Deanna. His wife was very fond of nature, and the businessman wanted his beloved to enjoy the unity with the natural beauty of the surrounding forest every day. Just like Greg's house, the backyard had a gate leading to a forest path. The similarities ended there. There were narrow paved paths around the property, with small alpine slides in between. There was a house for the staff, and next to it was a recreation area, a small wooden gazebo with 6 seats and barbecue, and several deck chairs under a large yellow umbrella. It was not easy to get to Diana's house. The girl led a close life and did not communicate even with close friends. She lived in total seclusion. Greg gave the man his daughter's phone number, and he called her. After listening to all the arguments Diana did not agree to meet, she can only be persuaded by promising to leave the veil on the mystery of her birth. After telling her some details about her life with her mother, Justin finally convinced her that he was not a blackmailer, a crook, or a weasel journalist. Now he had arrived on the scene. The young man was escorted into the house by a security guard. In the living room, he saw a girl sitting at the table reading a book. Justin was struck by her appearance. Slanted gasoline eyes, the color of ripe olives, framed by long black lashes, a sharp nose, bright sensual lips. Diana was a natural blondie, her long, sleek hair a delicate ash color. At first glance, Justin sensed that this fragile girl had a very strong will and independent character. The trauma had not broken her, but she had begun to live in accordance with the situation and did not suffer from isolation and loneliness. "Hello, have a seat," she offered, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. He saw a chair, sat down opposite the girl, and spoke. "You know, Diana, not long ago I recognized the man who is your father. You will probably be shocked, but You and I are united by his will. The girl's sable eyebrows flew up, and she blinked her beautiful eyes. What do you have to do with him? I took care of your father for almost 5 months. He was seriously ill and will not get out of bed. But his mind and his thoughts were pure and clear, although you're probably questioning that now. Greg left and will that you and I are his heirs, but we can only own his future if we are legally married. Diana's face contorted into an angry grimace. How many times had I imagined that I will find out who my father was and get some information about him? But not even in my wildest dream could I have imagined that the situation would turn out this way. Even though I didn't know him at all and hated him all my life for abandoning us, I still wanted to know about him. And he turned out to be a crazy old man, probably mad at the end of his life. Everything I knew about him was strange to say the least. This man provided for my mother and me but never showed his face. I didn't even know him by sight. He wouldn't interact with us. My mother told me that she started living in this house with me at his request, but he was never involved in my upbringing. Diana went into a screaming fit. I wanted a simple human connection. I just wanted to get to know him, look into his eyes, hug him, cry on his shoulder. I never got that. You were talking about some kind of inheritance. I don't want anything from him. All my desires are burned out. Go away. You are talking nonsense. I wouldn't be part of this comedy. I don't understand why this is comedy. Not only has this man disappeared from our lives, but he dares to mock me after his death. Do you really think I'm going to marry you without knowing you, even though I'm crippled? I don't need your pity. I can handle my situation on my own. Go away. I don't want to see or hear from you again. Justin had no choice but to leave Diana's house. Of course, he hoped he will be able to talk to her again and to try to explain what had driven Mr. Casey's actions. What happened next changed the girl's attitude toward him. Trying to keep his promise, Justin was on duty outside Diana's house the next day. He witnessed two thugs breaking into a house, a mansion in a cottage community, in the evening. When he heard the girl's screams, Justin called the police. They arrived in time, and the criminals were caught. However, Diana's was in a deplorable state. She was scared. After a few days, she recovered from the shock and began to talk. The girl was strong, but in this situation, she experienced a real shock. She felt very helpless. That's why she asked Justin, who was visiting her, to stay with her for a few days. He agreed and supported her in every way possible with the kind words. Diana openly admitted that she felt safe in his presence. Gradually, she came to her senses. The man was glad to be able to help the girl. Now he could see how she was bravely coping with everyday problems, and he learned that the main damage from the fall in the mountains affected the activity of the right leg. Diana couldn't walk on it. She dragged it. With his professional eye, he noticed the asymmetry of the pelvic bones. The right side was slightly higher than the left. When he asked Diana for the results of the test, he realized that after the shrapnel had been removed from the joint, there was almost nothing left. Still, the girl moved around the room, leaning on crutches. She could get to the bathroom, wash herself in the morning, take a shower, and only needed assistance to travel long distances. She had a wheelchair for that, which she used well. She was able to walk safely to the ocean or in the yard. Casey arranged for helpers to be invited into this house. The girl will call them for general cleaning or to go into town. The house and its grounds were equipped with a ramp and special devices. For example, in Diana's bedroom, special handles were nailed around the perimeter, allowing her to reach the toilet without crutches. Before the fall, the student dreamed of becoming a fitness trainer. She loved sports, and her father set up a small gym in their home. Diana herself picked up exercise machines to develop the muscles of the arms, back and abdominal muscles. Despite the fact that the muscles in her right leg became weaker and weaker over time, she trained her left leg so that it could bear considerable weight. Justin lived with Diana Green for about a month and realized that she had inherited the strain and tendency of character from her father, and she was sincerely attached to him. They found common interests, from discussing classic works of literature to daily walks in the woods. In Liverpool, Justin had a friend who worked as an assistant to a famous surgeon. One day, having gathered his courage, he called him and told him about Diana's injury. He asked for the girl's medical records and showed them to his supervisor. After a while, he called Justin back. "I've seen all of Diana's medical records. She hasn't been seen or been out in public in a long time. And now they've started doing unique surgeries using titanium implants to repair joints. It's a promising field. It's a growing field. We're waiting on you and the professor. There's a chance, and not a small one. Talk to the girl, have her re-evaluated, and we will evaluate all the nuances." Justin paced the conversation to Diana. "You know, I don't believe in the success of this venture." The girl shared her concerns. "Dee, you're wrong. I have reason to believe," Justin argued her. "You're a fighter at heart. You'll always have time to follow your wings. Your body should be able to handle it. You're strong, trained, and young. The most important thing is that the operation itself is success." With his passion and arguments, he managed to convince the girl, and she began to be examined. Feeling sincere care and attention, Diana became more natural and open. Justin managed to persuade the girl to enter into a sham marriage in order to receive an inheritance to pay for the operation and rehabilitation. They went to the notary and signed all the necessary papers, at the same time formalizing their relationship. They became man and wife. The boys were registered. It was a simple ceremony. After the ceremony, the couple went to cozy summer cafe. The weather was very warm. Diana wore a light, delicate blue dress. Her smoky hair was decorated only with a blue ribbon. Justin looked at her with admiration and respect. Every day, the young man discovered new things about the girl. He liked her soft, gentle laugh, like the ringing of a bell. Liked it when she looked at him truthfully for a long time. Goosebumps ran down his body when Diana took his hand and placed it on her cheek. The way she always thanked him for a delicious dinner or a pleasant evening. He was very worried about the girl's treatment and didn't know what feelings she had for him. Diana never showed more than friendly intentions. The guy separated this time, but his heart closed and fell in love with his fragile girl with an unpredictable character from the very first date. He didn't want the marriage to be a charm. He wanted it to be a real union. But the guy didn't want to be intrusive and coped quite well with the role assigned to him as a friend and protector. Soon the problem of inheritance was solved, and both newlyweds became the rightful owners of a large capital. Honeymoon at a young turned out not quite traditional. In mid-September, Justin will go to Liverpool with his wife. The heart of the guy clenched when he imagined how healthy Diana lives an independent life and forgets him, but he overcame the selfish impulse and wished her recovery with all his heart. No matter what happened, the plane carrying the newlyweds quickly gained the altitude. Diana and Justice sat next to each other, holding hands, believing and hoping for the best. At the clinic, Diana was examined and recommended surgical treatment using the latest innovative medical technologies. The surgery was performed by the qualified specialists who were skilled in this technique. Although the operation was complicated, it was successful, but the doctors warned that the rehabilitation will be long because not every patient with artificial implants returned to the previous physical activity and full life. Diana was determined for the best and recovered quickly. Before leaving Liverpool, the young people organized a small excursion around the city, taking a taxi and admiring the sights. Back at the hotel, they ordered dinner in the room, and throughout the night, Justin told his lover about her father's fate. "I don't understand. Why did he give up on us? Why did not he show himself in our lives? Were we so indifferent to him?" The man took her hand and sat down beside her, stroking her delicate, thin fingers. He lost his family and always thought that he was indirectly responsible for the incident. He never found out who did it to his family, never forgave himself, and condemned himself to loneliness. He lives just like you, all alone in his house. But he gave you up because he loved you so much. He feared for your lives. He thought that you might become new victims. His renunciation kept you out of danger, preserved your lives because he thought they were more independent than your relationship. Greg kept this secret for many years. Your father was a strong and proud man, very responsible for those he loved. I think you have to forgive and understand him. Diana was so impressed by Justin's story that her gazelle eyes became moist. "It's a shame I didn't know him at all. I could only feel my father in his invisible care, in decorating the house, in organizing my life. Without him, I wouldn't have recognized you, and there will be no hope that I will walk and become a full man. You made me want to fight to the end. Thank you, Justin." The girl hugged him and pressed her cheek to his face. On impulse, the boy pressed his lips to hers, and she responded to his kiss. It was the most romantic feeling in the young couple's lives. Here in Liverpool, they realized that they loved each other very much and were beyond by the most sincere and pure feelings. They returned home as true husband and wife, and although there was no intimacy between them, their souls were finally united. The young couple did not separate for a minute, and they had real joy in communicating with each other. It took Diana 6 months of rehabilitation at the local clinic before she was able to walk safely on both legs. Justin worked there as a surgeon, so he witnessed her first steps on the ward. After being discharged, they returned to Diana's home. The couple had their first intimacy filled with tenderness and tension. It was a culmination of their trust and passion. As soon as Diana began to walk as a completely healthy person, she immediately took over the household, and the social workers came to her home less and less. And a year later, a very happy moment happened. She became pregnant. Now the young couple was actively preparing to become parents. Shortly before the birth, Diana went to visit her father's grave. The girl cried softly when she saw his photo and whispered, "Thank you, Daddy. Thank you for being and for loving me. Thank you for taking care of me and my mom. Thank you for making her happy with you. Thank you for sending Justin to me. And we are truly a family now." A month later, on her due date, she gave birth to a strong baby boy they named Greg.